So if the velocity of an object is 0 at a given time, does that mean that its acceleration is also 0? Or a similar question is, if the acceleration of an object is 0 at a given time, does that mean that its velocity is also 0? Well, the answer to both of these questions is no. The velocity, if one of the velocities or acceleration is 0, it doesn't mean that the other one should also be 0. Let's consider an example. Suppose that I'm moving in that direction with some velocity, but I'm slowing down, which will mean that if I'm moving fast, then I slow down, and then I started moving backward. In all these cases, my velocity was changing linearly with acceleration. I can say that my velocity as a function of time was v0 plus a times t, let's say. Then a was negative, but this tells me that at the time t is equal to minus v0 over a, at this time, my speed will be 0. So just like I started moving in that direction, I accelerated in the opposite direction. So I slowed down and then started moving faster in this direction. But at a given time, I stopped at this time. But my acceleration was always constant. It was a constant and negative. So if at a given time the velocity is 0, it doesn't mean that the acceleration is 0. Of course, if the velocity is 0 during an interval, it does mean that during that interval, the acceleration is 0. So if we go back to my previous example, I start moving in that direction, I stop, and when I stop here for a finite length of time, my acceleration now is 0, my velocity is 0. Now if my acceleration was negative, then it is 0. If after some time my acceleration again becomes negative, it just means that I will acquire a speed in the negative direction, so I move backward. If you look at this one, acceleration is 0 basically means that your velocity is constant. The velocity does not change. So when you are moving at constant velocity, your acceleration is 0, but your velocity need not be 0.